The thing that Tolman talked about that was most critical is that you have to understand the ecosystem, you have to be able to control your margins, and you have to know what's driving the buyers if you're trying to sell your company. And I think he did a really good job sort of deconstructing some of the transactions that happened and why. I mean, he talked about the big deals that went down in mobile and why they were valued so high, but people with mobile companies shouldn't be expecting they're going to find the same thing. He talked about the local market and where he doesn't think the early companies out there are going to be the long-term winners. So it's like when you're in a business that's all about selling ads or doing something, you get sort of caught up in what you're doing, and you don't always recognize what's on the mind of the large media companies or the large buyers. But I thought it was a great presentation, one of the best I've ever seen in laying out the opportunities for digital advertising, mergers and acquisitions in the next year or two. I think the thing people need to understand what the large companies or the strategic buyers are looking for when they want to buy startup companies, they're trying to grow their businesses. They're trying to make their 5-year plans, and so they buy when they're ready to buy, not necessarily when companies are ready to sell. And they're looking for things that either are additive and they can just plug into their businesses, or things they can add a lot of scale in their businesses. They're looking for things that aren't likely to be trouble. They're looking for certainty. They're looking for competitive advantage. I think that Tolman did a great job talking about the fact that while the last 6 or 7 years the acquisitions in our marketplace have really been about just the large search portals, the Googles and Microsofts and Yahoos and AOLs, that now we're going to see a much larger collection of players making acquisitions. Everything from data companies to content delivery network companies to infrastructure companies. So Akamai's in the ad business. They bought a company, Acerno. So as Tolman mentioned, they see, they're at a pretty low a commodity that's hard to differentiate, the content delivery networks. And so if they have applications where they can add more value to the data they move by knowing it's advertising data and sell higher value, it absolutely makes sense. And I think we're going to see those companies get more involved. I think we're going to see other plumbing companies like Cisco. I mean, Cisco is clearly trying to move up the stack into the consumer applications of their networking and the things they have done in the video conferencing space or the flip camera. What I see in 2010, and I certainly have a bias, is more focus on video, and I think a renewed focus on television. It was interesting that CBS just reported its numbers, and really robust linear advertising numbers. I think we're going to see a lot of growth in web video. I think that we're going to see more robust experiences, and I think we're going to see more focus and growth on data-driven television too. So it's not going to happen tomorrow. So as I say, I have a bit of a bias there, but I do think we're going to see a lot more building out of the whole internet advertising ecosystem, and everything from data companies to the demand generation companies to the buying platforms. It's going to be a pretty interesting year, and I think Tolman made a point that we're going to see, I think his words were, we expect unexpected combinations in 2010. The biggest challenge that web video continues to have is a question of scale. Advertisers in the television world are used to being able to cum a lot of reach very quickly, and they haven't been able to do that on the web yet. We are seeing, we see networks like Tremor, Yumi, Broadband, and it's starting to happen, but that's what it comes down to. I mean, still, ultimately, outside of YouTube, there's still a limited amount of video being consumed at scale. I mean, even Hulu doesn't really have that much scale. Measurement's made a real big step forward, I think, in online video. The IAB just passed some new standards. So I think we're in a much better spot. But I think all the different video providers still, a lot of them count differently about how many deliveries they have and what constitutes unique deliveries. I think it's going to have to look a lot more like television metrics, I suspect, to be able to capture the television money.
So is that just a function of everybody getting together and resolving the discrepancies?
I think that's a part of it. I mean, I think the IAB is taking a real strong leadership point. Once the market starts caring more and money moves more, those things happen. I think they'll happen a bit naturally. I think with the scale will come more consistent metrics. I think the big speed bumps for the digital ad industry for 2010 that everyone needs to think about. One is public policy is a big issue. We still have some real disconnects with Washington on privacy, and I think companies really need to get ahead of that. I think the IAB is doing an awful lot of work there. I think we can't stop working at it, and so we're gonna. I think it's gonna be a pretty good year, but it's gonna take an awful lot of work, and it's easy to start relaxing sometimes when the markets get a little bit better. And distraction. I mean, we have so many new emerging platforms. We have web video, we have lots of different kinds of mobile, we have location-based businesses, and that's distracting a lot of the marketplace into what, how much is experimental budgets, how much are they really committing to, and trying to sort of keep it focused and make it easy for clients is going to be pretty important. The thing I'm most excited about for 2010 for Simulmedia is we've been running field trials for a number of months, and for 2010 we'll sort of really take the wraps off our product and really go public with it, and we're pretty excited that we think we can make a really big difference in the market this year. So the nice thing about working in a big marketplace like television compared to the internet is that you go from you go through the walking and crawling stages very quickly to the running stage, where it takes a little bit longer on the web side. So that's what I'm looking forward to.